Hi everybody, it's DeVell again, student at JTech, and today we'll be looking at two different types of steering systems. The first steering system we'll be looking at is the rack and pinion system. And here we see an exploded view of the rack and pinion system. We have the housing here, and you can see it also has bushings, which are mounting points here. And then you have the actual piston that's inside the rack, and also the pinion that allows it to turn, connected to the steering column. And we have the tie rod, see entire assembly. It's the connecting point here. And then you have the bellows, which hold in the oil and grease and protect these moving components. You have an adjustable link here. You can see the nut. Just make it longer or shorter to change different aspects of your steering geometry. And then your outer tie rod, which is actually connected to a point on the car to allow the wheel and tires to turn. Okay, here we see hydraulic lines, and these are the conduits that hydraulic fluid travels through to facilitate movement inside of the rack itself. And this is where your steering column would be mounted to. And this is also turned, as we saw here, with this component. Same as this one, turns the piston, moves the piston inside, which is this component, and that allows your tie rods to move, which can change the orientation of your wheels and tires. And here we see an example of your control valve. You can see the holes that the hydraulic fluid travels through to allow your steering to change. Here you have the lower control valve seal, and here the upper control valve seal. You can see over here in the exploded view that you have these directional valves here, which correspond to hydraulic pressure, which is placed through these holes to turn the rack and pinion. Okay. Lower bearing seal will be placed here. Place this component inside this housing, would come down and then be screwed on with this thread here. That would hold it in place. Next system we'll be looking at is the parallelogram system, or the recirculating ball system. The first part, of course, is your steering column, and this part here would be connected to the steering wheel, and this would give you control over how much the tires moved. Next part here is your steering box, gearbox. It has a recirculating ball in it, and this shaft with a pinion that's connected to your pitman arm. Next part is your track rod here. This connects both sides of the component. Next component is your tie rod. Just like the tie rod on the rack and pinion system, you have your outer tie rod, and then you have your inner tie rod. On the tie rod, you have a component here that can be used to adjust your toe, and this influences alignment. It is the idle arm, and this just allows this side to mimic the activity of the other side here with the pitman arm. Okay, this is the rack and pinion setup on the car itself. So you have the rack here, the housing, right here, this black part. And then if you look up, you can see your fluid lines, hydraulic line right there. Now, I'm not sure if you can really see the steering linkage, but it is up there. On this side you have the tie rod and your bellows. Of course, this is your outer tie rod. Inner tie rod would be contained inside here. And this is your adjustable nut here, just the length. Okay, and this is the parallelogram type of steering linkage found on S10. See here you have the tie rods, your inner and outer tie rod. You have your pitman arm right here. It's connected to the actual gearbox here. And then if you look up, you can see the steering column right here. Right here.
Well, I mean, getting it from, that's the thing. Getting it from the bed of your truck.
The center link right here. Idle arm on this side. And of course it works in conjunction with your pitman arm. And on the other side, of course, you have the tie rods. That's the explanation of the two systems. Two systems are different. When you look at the parallel system, you can see it has a lot more linkages to it. It's an older system, it's heavier, it's more cumbersome. It's a bit more expensive than the rack and pinion system, which is more simplistic, and it's lighter, it's more effective. It's what they're using now.